Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Goodness John, and in today's video I'm going to be showing us how I make this simple crop top. So it's a really simple process. If this is something you're interested in learning, please stick with me to the end of the video. If you have any questions, drop in the comment section and I'll come back to answer your questions. If you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your support. Alright then, let's get into the video. So for this crop top, I'm using a yard of fabric. If you're bigger or smaller, it will vary based on your size. So the first thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric according to the biggest part of my measurement. My biggest part is my round bust, which is 38. So I'm adding 5 inches to my round body measurement because I don't want my crop top to be fitted. Dividing that by 4 is 10 3/4 plus 1 inch allowance is 11 3/4. So I'll just adjust this fabric until I get that measurement I'm after. Next, I'm going to apply the full length of the crop top. So my crop top is 18 inches, so it's 17 inches plus 1 inch allowance, so it's 18 inches. So your crop top length is depending on how long you want it. So I'll just mark 18 inches across and then I'll cut out my pattern. So the fabric I'm going to be using to be cutting out my front pattern. Because my crop top is not going to have zip, my front and back pattern are going to be the same measurement. So I'm just folding what I've cut out for the front to another part of the fabric. So I'm going to draft my back as well. I'll cut this out and start cutting out my pattern. Next, I'm going to start applying my measurements. I'll start with my shoulder measurement. So my shoulder is 16 inches. Dividing that by 2, I have 8 inches plus half an inch allowance. So I've marked 8.5. And then I'll drop down by 1 inch. I'll just mark that. And next, I'm going to apply my neckline. So the neckline width is 3 inches. I'll mark that. Then the front neckline depth is 6 inches. I'll mark that. Then draw the neckline curve. So the back depth is 1.5. I'll just mark that and then draw the curve. Your neckline can be however you want it to be, but just bear in mind that if it's not going to have zip, it has to be wide enough to enter your head. So now I'm going to curve this or draw a straight line to meet the neckline to that 1 inch drop I marked initially, just to have a slanted line. Next, I'm going to draw my armhole curve. So to do this, I've divided my round bust by 6 and added 1.5 inch, which gave me 7 3/4. So I'll just mark that and then go in, dividing this length by 2, mark it at the midpoint. Then at that point, I'll go in by 1/2 inch, and then I will connect the top of the armhole to that midpoint to the end of the fabric, which is my bust, round bust. Don't forget I use my round bust to cut this measurement. So because I wanted a big crop top, like not fitted to my body, I've added 5 inches to my round bust measurement and to my round waist measurement. My round waist is 32. Then I added 5 inches to 32, which gave me 30, approximately to 38, and then plus my allowance, that is 10 inches. So I'm connecting my bust measurements to the waist and then I'll trim off the excess. If you want your crop top to be a fitted crop top, you're going to have zip, and then you're going to use your exact measurement. But because mine is not a fitted crop top, I've added 5 inches to my round bust measurement and to my round waist measurement, and that's why it's a bit bigger than my actual measurement. I'm just cutting off the neckline, the shoulder, just cutting off my pattern. So I'm cutting out the back first and trimming off the shoulder. So I have this label here, but because I know my sewing is going to cover it, that's why I still left it on there. So I'll just trim off the armhole as well. After I've cut it all out, I still have the front neckline, so I'll just lift one of the patterns up and then trim off the neckline. Remember, it's just the same thing.
It's just the neckline that makes it different because this doesn't have zip. So this is my pattern for the front and back. Next, I'm going to cut out my sleeve. So I'll just put this aside and draft the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I'm just going to cut fabric that is long enough for the length I want, and then the width of the fabric is going to be my round armhole divided by 2. So you to take this measurement, you just measure around the armhole, and then I'll divide that by 2 and cut it on fold. So because I have 2 sleeves, I'm folding it in 2. Once I have the length and width I'm satisfied with, I'll just cut it out. So for the sleeve, I'll measure 4 inches from the fold and 4 inches diagonally and just draw a curve. So mostly I'm eyeballing, but if you want to use your measurement, just measure 4 inches diagonally. That's where you curve it down, and then 4 inches and then curve it that way. So just draw a curve that fits the sleeve. Now the round sleeve is, I'm going to make it just slightly bigger than my round sleeve measurement because my crop top is just slightly bigger than my body measurement. And then I'll just measure around this curve and then check around the armhole to ensure that it fits, like the measurement is sufficient for the armhole measurement. And when I'm okay with it, I'll cut off the pattern. So I've cut out front, back and sleeve pattern. The next thing I want to cut out is the bias that I would use to turn the neckline. So to cut the bias, you're just going to be cutting across a fabric diagonally. So I've already cut out a diagonal line across this fabric. So, and then I'll fold the fabric to however big I want it. So it's going to be like 3/4 of an inch. I'll just iron this across, and then this is my bias. This is what I'll be using to turn the neckline for the front and the back. So this is what the bias looks like. Now to the sewing. The first thing I'm going to do is to turn the neckline for both the front and the back pattern. I'll be turning this bias from the inside outside because I want the bias face to be on the front, not inside the fabric. I'll go and do that for the back and the front pattern. I've gone and done that. The next thing I'm going to do is to notch the part and then trim off the excess so I can come and fold it to the front. So I'll just go and do that notch and trim off the excess so it's easy to fold. After I've trimmed off the excess, I'll turn it to the right side and then sew it straight all the way. I'll do that for the back pattern and the front pattern as well. So I've sewn it and then ironed it, and this is what it's looking like. The next thing I'm going to do is to place front to front and then join it at the shoulder from the inside. So I'll just go and join by 1/2 inch allowance. So I've joined it and ironed it, and this is what it looks like. I'll put this aside and then start working on the sleeve. So the sleeve, I need to fold the edge, so I'll just go and fold it on the sewing machine and just sew the edge. Okay, so I've sewn the edge. The next thing I'm going to do is to attach the sleeve to the body of the crop top. So I'll just open the crop top and then start joining from the shoulder. I notched the midpoint of the sleeve, and then I'll just attach both together, the midpoints of the joining of the shoulder to the midpoint of the sleeve, and then I'll sew on one side first with 1/2 inch allowance. I'll sew it, I'll just follow the curve and then sew it all the way to the end. And after I've gotten to the end of that point, after I've gotten to this end here, I will turn it to the other side and then sew the other side of the sleeve. So that's how I join the sleeve to the crop top. I'll do that for both sleeves and then show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is to join the sides together with 1/2 inch allowance. So I've joined the left and the right sides together. The next thing I'm going to do is to hem the bottom, and my crop top is ready. So this is the easiest cloth you can make. I hope this video has been helpful and easy to follow. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video and do any of the other YouTube stuff that you know to do. Thank you all for watching, and see you in my next video.